Okay, so let's close this guy out. What's underneath? Let's close out my plans. What else is embarrassing on here? Nothing. Oops. Oh my God, there's 4 people watching. I just 7. Oh my God, 7 people watching. Jesus, I better say something intelligent. Hopefully you can hear me. I can't really hear myself, but hopefully this is working. Ooh, do I have? My. So that's not it. That's not it. Okay, testing 1, 2. Okay, so that's not working. Ah, thank you. Nope, it is working. Wait, what? How come that started working? Can you hear me now? It should be in. Let's see. Yes, okay. Chatbox AI. I don't know anything about Chatbox AI. Let's close this guy out. Yeah, sure. I think I already opened that. Okay, close that out. Close that. Close that. Close that. Come on. I don't need that. Okay, so Chatbox AI. Bring a web browser in here. So Chatbox AI, like that. Okay, that's not it. Chatbox AI. Chatbox AI app. Got it. Yeah. So, what am I doing here? What? Usually, I. Oh, my phone, my camera was unplugged. No, it wasn't. Let's see. Start cam. Okay. We'll see if that stops working again. Okay. So, what was I going to do? So, normally I have a stream that I do around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time because I live near Seattle. Um, and that's with Ryan. Ryan is a guy I used to work with when I was at Datadog. I was at Datadog for about 8 years, from the time we were 30 people till I left when we were about 5,000. Ryan's still there, and I still have a lot of friends at Datadog. Um, but I have a doctor's appointment at 1:45, and so there's no way I'm going to make it to that. And I decided I wanted to. I started playing around on my website with. So, how do I go back? Let's go back. So on my website, I have. Let's go to my website. It's not very exciting. Don't get super excited about this. TBT. No, evangelist.com. Okay. So this is my simple website. It's mostly just a link to most recent video, but I also have these notes on here. And you can find more notes in the archive of notes. And this page is actually, let's go to, I started putting together this list of Ollama Web and Desktop integrations. And I I quickly ran into problems because like the first 4 things on the list were garbage. Well, they might have been great at one point, but they are not working, either not working well now, or just insane prerequisites to get installed, or just flat out broken. And I started to say, you know, what works and what doesn't. But this, it's easy to take it out of context and think that I'm just saying, oh, I don't like it, so therefore it's garbage. Um, and I figured it would be good to have some sort of video to kind of back up what I'm saying. To you know, the fact that this LOLLMS web UI, the website doesn't work, the installation doesn't work, the all these other things don't work, and this and LibreChat doesn't even have an option for Ollama unless you really dig into the documentation and like scour around and find something. Then you can find out how to install some sort of piece that works with Ollama. And some of these other tools haven't been updated in ages. Just me saying it, it sounds, I mean, when I'm looking at it myself, it sounds kind of like, sure, it seems to work for me. But so I wanted to have some sort of something to back up what I'm saying. Yeah, so that was the reason I created this stream. So I don't know. Let's see how it goes. And then Rodolfo pointed out Chatbox AI. So it's an interface to use Ollama and other models. Okay, cool. So maybe we can take a look at that. Is it in the list? So the list I was going off of what's on. Let's increase that. If we go to the GitHub and I scroll down all the way down, there's this list of integrations. You know, when I was still part of the Ollama team, this was a little bit more manageable. There were fewer options on this list. Now this list is just going crazy. It's we had talked about one of the last things I was doing when I was with Ollama was creating a separate page that would just talk about integrations, so that this could be nice and clean and really just point to the best of them. But it seemed like that idea went away. But let's see. So Chatbox AI, is Chatbox in here? Chatbox. Ah, it is. Okay. And oh, that's a different one. Oh no, that is the same one. Okay, cool. So anyway, this page, what this actually comes from is, let's open up my Obsidian. So I use Obsidian for notes, and one thing I've done pretty recently is set up a system so that as I make, you know, take notes on anything, you know, you'll see that all the notes on the website are just these notes from my Ollama notebook. And as I type on here, every 5 minutes, this gets synchronized to technoevangelist.com. So I'm not publishing it. I guess I am, but I'm not having to do anything to get this content up to the website, which is really cool, because I've wanted to update my blog for a long time, and I haven't because oh, hey, look at that, my camera got messed up. I haven't for a long time because it was just a pain to publish. So all right, so I'm just gonna flops around, or play around with this. And if you have any questions or want to point out different things to me, that's great. But I'm just going to kind of play around with these things. And I don't really have other than that, I don't really have a plan. So yeah, so let's go to Chatbox and learn a little bit more about what this is. And I went to a different page, okay, there we go. So Chatbox. Feel free to comment, whatever. Oh, wait, where did my... I need to... Did I just stop my stream? No, that's not it. Ah, there we go. Okay. Put that over here. Okay, perfect. Okay. Nice fancy website. So Windows, Mac Intel, Mac, Apple Silicon, and Linux. Pretty cool. Get it on App Store for mobile. Nice. And using a browser. Yeah, I did touch on AI plugins for Obsidian. I don't use any of them because that's another one I really should, start going through because it seems like there were two or three people that latched on to that idea of creating a plugin and they created something that was not that great and then they haven't touched it in ages. And some people are creating plugins for OpenAI and then using the OpenAI endpoint for Ollama, pointing to Ollama, but that's not really a great experience either. So I was hoping that somebody would just like latch onto that idea and create this amazing plugin. And people who are using Obsidian and using AI, they see that there's really no option for Ollama based plugins. So they use, ChatGPT because it's just easier or it's just possible. And I think nobody's really created a great plugin. And I'm reluctant to publish the one that I made just because it's not that great. And I don't know if I want to be in the business of updating a Obsidian plugin, but maybe I will someday. Um, so in the answer to the question is I don't use any because they suck. Okay, so Chatbox. Let's get this installed. Apparently it's on the App Store. Let's move this over. So if I do Chatbox AI, yeah, okay. This is not Chatbox. This seems to be the way to make money is create a app because there's so many of them and they all look the same. Okay, so that's not useful. Let's go back here and find the link to pricing. Okay, Chatbox is free, but if you want to use it with Chatbox AI, it's $3.99. Okay, seems okay. I don't know what Chatbox AI is or this model is. Kind of confusing this pricing strategy there, but let's see. App Store. Okay, so it's on the App Store. Oh, was it only on the App Store for mobile? Oh, yeah, download for mobile on the App Store. Okay. Because that looks a little sketchy. Okay. So install for Mac M1. Okay, it's installing for me. Great. Or no, it's just downloading the DMG. I think. I guess it's already opening somewhere. There it is. Yes, I trust everything. Okay, it looks like it's copied over, so chat box. Yes, I want to open it. Okay, start setup. Chatbox AI. I don't want to use use that. I want to go straight to Ollama. Nice. Okay, cool. And yep, those are all my models. I have a few models installed. Yes, I have a problem. Let's go to Llama 3. Llama 3. Do I have a way of downloading new models? I don't see that yet, but maybe I will. Okay, so interesting. It's got a temperature of 0 to 1. A lot of people will say that temperature is 0 to 2 or 0 to 5, but here we just have 0 to 1, which is weird. I don't think I've ever seen people say temperature is only 0 to 1. This is the first time I've seen that one. Display English, yeah, okay. Fonts, okay. Message word count, message token count, yeah. Message timestamp. I don't know why I need to look at these things. Okay. Okay, so I think if I ask a question here, it's going to use Ollama, but I'm not really sure. What is a black hole? Okay, so it is using Ollama. And okay, there we go. Nice. And okay, so one of the things I've hated about some of the other clients is that you enter in a question, you press enter, and then it takes the focus away from the text box. But this is doing loves to chat with itself. Do you have a quick fix model file for Llama 3? Where it's basically saying it finishes the response and then it poses another question to itself and it answers that question and does another question to itself. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what you're saying. And yeah, I think that's mostly about setting the right stop words, stop parameter. I know that, yeah, okay. I've definitely seen that in the Discord. I haven't been playing with it enough myself in the last few days. So I haven't seen it happen in my own stuff. But I know that is, whenever there's a new model that comes out, Jeff, and usually it's Mike Yang that puts out does the conversion on the Mac Studio in the office, and then they publish it to ollama.com, and they do that really quick. And then as comments come in, they tweak it a bit, add a few more things, push more. Looks like my camera's up removed again. That's so weird. Using and now it's gone back to that camera instead of using the Osmo Pocket as a webcam does not seem to be working well. And now that's frozen. Okay, well, that was a cool idea we're not going to do anymore. Take that away. Turn that off. And we'll change camera to be the FaceTime camera. Start cam. There we go. Yeah, so they make those changes and then push them out. So it's always a good idea if the model first comes out is to go into, let's go over here, open up a terminal. I don't have my terminal. Ollama pull Llama 3 to make sure that you've got the latest stuff. And it looks like actually it is pulling a new version of I don't know which one that is probably the system prompt got an update, and maybe that's going to fix some of the issues that people have. What's the strongest model in the market? There's no strongest. It all depends on what your requirements are, what your needs are. Um, everybody has different things that they want. Some people loved Gemma. I hated Gemma. It always seemed to respond with this goofy sentence at the beginning that I didn't like. And so saying that was the strongest, I don't think so. Um, Strongest, I don't know. Opus? What's Opus? I don't know Opus. Where did my web browser go? AI model. Oh, okay, Claude. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were talking about Claude. Um, Maybe, I mean, that's another of these online model. Yeah, so sorry about that. It's another one of these online models. I tend to, in most cases, prefer to run something locally rather than running one of these online models. Um, and um, so I have tended not to use Claude. I know. I mean, we had, what was it, Claude 1 or Claude 2, where you had to use it as a Slack bot. And we had that going on inside of Ollama, inside the all of us, the work group, and we I think we kept it on because it was so bad, uh, and it would just be like kind of refreshing, saying, here's all this cool stuff we were working on, and then we'd ask Claude a question, and it would come up with this answer. It was like just awful. So I think Claude 3 is a lot better. Opus is a lot better, but I have not looked into it. I don't know. Do I use function calling? I mean, I've used it for making some videos a few months back, and uh, I use it for creating demos for other people. But um, other than that, that's really all I've done. And are there, yeah, I mean, all the models seem to work well as long as you're doing, I mean, the thing with function calling or outputting the parameters, that you're outputting the answer in a format that you can use to then send to a function. Um, you there are definitely some examples that people on the Discord have created that will, you give it, here's the parameters that this function spits out. Here's the parameters that this function spits out. Which is the best function for, tell me which function to use and give me the parameters. That all works, but in order to get that to work, you need to do a number of things. You need to say format JSON in the request, and you also, in the prompt, you need to say output as JSON, and then what's the other thing? And then it really helps to do some examples. So this is where the chat endpoint is a little bit easier to work with than the generate endpoint. So the chat endpoint will allow you to do like provide an example. So whatever your question is, and then you create the answer and put that in the assistant field or assistant block, and then you ask another question and the answer, another question and the answer. That way you're providing the model with some examples, and then also in the prompt specifying the schema is also really helpful. Otherwise, you might get an answer that uses a different schema each time. But that's, I mean, and that's essentially what the OpenAI API is doing, is saying that you need to enter all these things. They're just specifying a specific format that you need to do it. And with Ollama, you're not. I see that there's some newer models that are trained specifically for function calling. That really hasn't been all that necessary, but I think I need to spend a little bit more time with those as well. Okay, so I was starting to look at this. Okay, so it's already installed. I think I've got it. Oh yeah, I've got it running. Forgot where it was. No, that's not it. Okay, so what are these things? There's a little icon for, it just spins a box. I don't know what that does. Refresh context, start a new thread. Okay, cool. So it probably just killed out. Yeah, so it's no longer providing the context to the model. View historical threads. Cool. What's this Astro Talk? I guess it assigns a new name to each thread. Attach an image in case we're using a lava image. Good. Or a lava model. Select a file. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so I grabbed a few PDFs pretty recently. Let's see, was this one? Yeah, okay, so let's do this one. And what was in that? So I think downloads. I think I grabbed this one. What does this even say? Is there anything I can? Okay, so urban security. Okay. What's a good question I can ask? What can you tell me about, or what can you tell me about urban security? Okay, let's go with that. The current model does not support sending files. Okay, so it does not do RAG. It's only, so you have to use their service if you want to do anything with these, with PDFs. Okay, that's fine. Customize settings. Okay, that's that. Okay, we saw that before. That's interesting that they kind of indicate that they do RAG, but they don't. And you have to use their service, which costs whatever, $5 a month. And then if I choose a lava model, weird box that just spins. Let's change this to Llama 3. What's lava? And give it an image. What is in this image? Okay, it does not. Okay, so they offer support for lava images or for images with lava, but you have to use their service to do so. Okay, so this is, I'm not liking Chatbox so far. I do not. I mean, Zettlekasten. Yeah, I mean, I kind of tried. I mean, the idea of Zettlekasten is keeping notes to a specific concept and do that for all your notes. I do that generally. I don't assign a unique number to it. I don't label them as such. I'm not a very good note taker. I've had so many starts at creating, updating my notebook with Obsidian, and then I forget about it for months. I did a video, one of the more popular videos on my channel, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, about what was it called? It was using Emacs, and it was using, it was like Rome, because it's like 5 years ago, Rome was like the thing. That was the most popular note taking tool for, it seemed like, for a good year and a half. And they took some of all the ideas that existed in what were some of the tools like Trillium and Tinderbox, and there were a bunch of other note-taking tools. And they basically took all the best ideas from all those other things, plopped it into Rome, and put a nice UI, but didn't really give you access to the back-end notes. But it became the thing and was amazing. And so there were a bunch of spin-offs from there, including this, I think it was like Rome Emacs or Emacs Rome or something like that. And so I created a video about that, and I mean it blew up. I'm curious, how many views do I have now on that thing? Where's my browser? Okay, so let's go to Studio YouTube, content, and scroll down here. Somewhere in here, my notes. Okay, make connections in your notes. It's now at, okay, 35,000 views, which, for a lot of people, that's like, that's like just an hour's worth of views. But for me, that was one of my more amazing, and yeah, just kind of keeps going up, slowly up. I'm getting 35,000 views just in the last month, and I posted that 4 years ago. So that, and the day after that video is when I first found out about Obsidian, and so I published that video. And by the time it was actually published, I was already switched over to using Obsidian, but I'd spent some time building out that video, so I published it, and it's still getting views. And so I've used Obsidian ever since then. I used to use Tinderbox. I used to use a lot of other tools, and I like it a lot. I don't just rise and grind. Notion, yeah, a lot of people like to use Notion. I've never understood the interest in using Notion because it's not a really great note taker. I mean, every time I've tried it, I have not enjoyed using it. We used Notion internally at Ollama for just managing everything, but it seems to get unorganized quickly. Well, I guess you could say the same thing about Obsidian. Make a special tab for just phone. Notion as a note. Well, there's a tool called, what's it called? Superwhisper. There's a bunch of others that will do some text to speech, or no, speech to text on your phone. I don't. The problem with using voice is that as you can tell just from this live stream, my thoughts aren't well sorted until I've put them down. And me looking at just a speech transcript, it's awful, because I feel like I need to think about it a bit, and then by the time I've thought about what I really want to say, well, the speech to text translation thing has given up. It's like, okay, he's no longer speaking, and then I finally do have a thought, and I spit it out. And so I don't know. I have a number of tools. In fact, I was subscribed to superwhisper for a while. I kept wanting to love it, and I didn't. And then it became part of the setup subscription on the Mac, and so I switched over to that. But I just don't use it. It's probably loaded on here. It's probably up in this menu bar with 1,000 other things. But no, it's not. It was. Yeah. Have I used N8N? I used to use N8N quite a bit. In fact, there is a I think I don't know if it's still on their website, on N8N's website. There was um, a manifest for Kubernetes for getting N8N installed, and I think I did it specifically on some AWS service. And so that's mine. Um, I don't know if I was at the precursor to Ollama when I did that, or if I was still at Datadog when I did that. I think I was still at Datadog. So I haven't used N8N with Ollama. There's a number of these tools. N8N, I feel like N8N is it's such a cool tool, but it got this burst of development a while back, and that got it to where it is right now. And it's just kind of just moving along, not really seeing a lot of stuff going on. Oh, I should probably close this window. Um, Not a lot of stuff going. Oh, what's this thing? Oh, it's this chat box. Okay, not a lot of stuff going on with N8N, and it just kind of floundered. I don't know. I haven't looked at it at N8N recently, um, but but there's a bunch of others that do things like I mean, even like Datadog has a workflow tool built in, and you can have Ollama as one of the nodes in that Datadog workflow, which is kind of bizarre. Um, and then there's a number of others. There's what was the one I was using? Oh, Rivet, I think is another tool that has. And then I just read about one. I just saw an article on Hacker News the other day about one called um, Defy, Dify, which is actually on the Ollama community integrations list. There is a link to Defy. I don't know how to pronounce it. Dify. If it was an E, I would say Defy, but Defy. I don't know. Never tried Obsidian. Yeah, Obsidian is just it's just nice. And it's nice because there's so many integrations and so many plugins for Obsidian that I end up using it for a lot of different things. Like I even use it for my project management. If I go in here, this is basically a list of not that. Let's close that up. A list of kind of ideas that I'm working on for different videos, and kind of although like any project management tool, I need to keep it keep up with it because it easily gets into this place where I moved some of these ideas into process, and really this one is done, so it should be over in archive. Except I haven't actually archived all the footage and content board and content. I'm not the best project manager. I think that's my problem. I need a project manager. I can't afford a project manager. Okay, Crew AI. Try to use Crew AI, but the agents refuse to talk to each other or use tools. LangGraph is tougher to understand, yeah. But you can really dial in the workflow. Any thoughts on LangGraph or any alternatives? Yes, I have thoughts. They're not popular thoughts. Popular thoughts say that Crew AI and what's the other one, the Microsoft one, are amazing. I don't love them, but that's purely because I am in somebody in this. Oh, AutoGen, thank you. I am in this AI world, and I hate Python, and so I go out of my way to do things with other languages. In fact, I keep meaning to do um, use Lua for doing stuff with Ollama, or I don't know, find something else, some other language. But there's all sorts of weird esoteric languages out there, and I feel like I should just create videos on using those things, anything to avoid using Python. And really my problem with Python is that I I keep trying to do the right thing with Python. You set up a Conda environment or some other snake environment, and so okay, here's the process for creating a new project. You do this, and for doing this other thing, you do these other things. You go through these steps, and no matter what I do, I go through the steps I was told to do, and yet the Python environment gets screwed up, and the only option you have is to blow away everything and spend 5 hours 6 hours trying to recreate your Python environment in order to get back up and running to build anything with Python. And that is what I hate about Python, is that I within like 2 months 3 months get to a point where the environment is so screwed up that I have to start over, and I do this every single time. And poetry is another great example. Poetry, I mean, one of the guys with Ollama, he loves poetry, and you quickly, because I try to stick to the right process, but of course, there's going to be one time you add one project that does, and you use some other standard for working with Python, and then it screws up the entire system because, well, this package, I've already installed this package. I installed this package 3 times. Oh, it turns out I used the other system. I use a command for Conda or for some other, or for poetry or for something, and I don't know where things are, and you quickly get to a point where everything's messed up. And that's my problem with Python. And I don't have that problem with anything else. Anything. And it's hard to have that kind of problem with Golang or with npm, or well, actually I mean, even if I use on the JavaScript side or TypeScript side, if you use npm for one project and yarn for another project, and then bun or dino, it doesn't screw up the entire environment. It just, I mean, maybe you'll have one project that's screwed up, but just start over, and or it's pretty easy to clean up. But I constantly get into these problems where my entire Python environment is so hosed because of I don't know what, and so that's why I dislike Python. I gotta find I think I've got another webcam. I need to deal with this camera situation because I got the flare from my windows, and I could close my windows. Let's close my blinds. And that's gonna make it a little bit better, but then I'm a little bit in the dark. Oh, and then that's where my iPad is. So that's a little bit better. Yeah. Speech to text, my workflow. Use audio hijacks transcription tool. Yes. So I really like, yeah. So the original goal of looking at Ollama Web and Desktop integration seems to have gone. But let's see. Let's go bring up superwhisper. And then what key did I use to trigger superwhisper? Settings, AI model, configuration. Okay, so option space to record. Okay, so here I am in, let's just do it in Obsidian. Let's make some space here. Let's increase the text size. Okay, so option space. Here we go. Okay, so here I am recording some notes about the annotated list of web and desktop integrations, and this is really cool, and I'm doing it live in front of people, so hopefully it's going to work. And I'm just going to press Command Space again, and there we go. And so it just pasted it in. I didn't have to do anything special. It just works, and that's really cool. Okay, so here I am recording some notes. Okay, that is what I said. Although, and I'm just going to press and space. I guess I might have slurred there. Option E, I'm not really sure what that does. But as I walk along, go along, I can just do, and then I said something else that was really amazing. Yeah, I did. One thing I don't like is one thing I don't like about this is that you see that as I'm talking, and I come into a different, like, let's start over. One of the problems I have, period, okay, so that's the thing, period. I can't add periods to my sentences. So every good boy does, I don't know what the phrase is. Let's read something. Okay, I can read. Use Audio Hijack's transcription tool, feed that into Ollama, period, with the prompt, da, 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 da. Okay, so if I try to do that, it's going to spit out the word period a bunch of times. I did it? I don't. Okay, so it just completely ignored periods. It doesn't include periods. And so that's one of my annoyances with Whisper, I think. But although I think I can actually go into Super Whisper and change how it deals with, where did my icon for this? So I think in this guy, I can change how it reacts to me saying the word period. But then there's lots of other tools. Another one that I use actually a lot is macwhisper. And this is really nice for basically this is what the tool I use for creating the subtitles on any of the shorts that I do. Anytime I post a short to either YouTube or TikTok or Twitter, I just drag and drop the audio file that I output from Final Cut Pro into here, and it generates. Okay, so it's doing it right now in front of us. So this was the Chroma DB and SQLite YouTube video, and it has gone ahead and created all the subtitles on a separate line. So each one of these is a separate time. And within the settings for this, you can say limit all lines of subtitles to, I think I have it set to 17 characters. And so as long as the words fit into 17 characters, it's going to put that onto a separate line. And so therefore, that is going to be exported as a separate time period. So from, 720 milliseconds to 1 second and 530 milliseconds, it's going to have the word super cool way. And then the next thing till 2 seconds and 330 milliseconds, it's going to say to get a vector and so forth, and this is amazing. And then I've got another command line tool that will take an SRT file and generate a Final Cut XML file, which I can just drag and drop into Final Cut, and all the subtitles are right there. Fancy bottom bar in Obsidian. That bar in Obsidian, that's just this is the default status bar, but as you add plugins to the status bar, you get all these other things. So like this one is commits to, I have the Git plugin for Obsidian. And so actually, okay, so here's perhaps why I should not have done it in this page. We're going to see this update it's last updated 4 minutes ago. So we're in the next few seconds, we're going to see up here, however many new files were updated, and then it's going to push those up to GitHub. Let's give it a second for that to happen. Hi Stan TR. Okay, let's see. And then while we're waiting for that, let's go over to. Do I have my web browser in here somewhere? No, I don't. Let's bring this. Oh, I have it in that. Okay, so here, if I refresh this page, so here it is automatically published that up here. And one thing I don't like about this, so that's not in here, but if I refresh this page, probably now, oh, maybe it's going to take a few more seconds to come in. Oh, there it is. Committed one file, pushed one file to remote. So that pushes it up to my, I have a GitHub repo for all my notes. And as soon as that publishes to GitHub, I have a GitHub action that says anytime there's a new push to the repo, go ahead and trigger a GitHub action on the repo for my website. And that action on the website clones the repo from my notes, grabs just the content out of content/blog, content/notes, content/scripts, content/video notes, and content/videos, does a little of processing on all those to update markdown links and turn them into hrefs, and then publishes them. And so now we should be able to refresh and it'll be extra content right about here. There it is. One thing I don't like about this is that you see, so I'm going to remove all that because it doesn't make any sense. We have been all over the place. I hope this is okay. Can we access these notes online? Yes, you can. So if you go to my website, which is technoevangelist.com. So if you go to technoevangelist.com, that's the website, is technoevangelist.com. And then you go to, I think I say, take notes. So all of these purple links are links. So you can see my recent notes on here, or I can click on notes, and these are all the notes that have been published to the website. And so there's a page about Vectorbait. Again, this has been I finally got this website up and running, let's say a week ago. And I'm gradually starting to populate the content into these things. But as I create notes that refer to other notes in Obsidian, the links are updated here on the website as well. So the Milvus note actually links to the Milvus note that was in my Obsidian, but is now published on the website. And it goes back and forth to the vector databases thing. I really want to start looking at PDF conversion tools because they all suck. But if I go back to notes and list of web integrations, I removed all that content. And so if I refresh, no, it hasn't been 5 minutes yet. So I used to have it update every minute at the website above. Oh, let me just type in the website. So that's the website. I added it to the, hopefully I added it to the comments in YouTube. And yeah, so now, how long has it been since it last published? 3 minutes ago. So it's going to be another 2 minutes before that page gets updated. I used to do it every minute, but then the process for updating all the things can sometimes take longer than a minute. And so it starts trying to push again and it gets clobbered. So I updated it to every 5 minutes, which seemed like good enough. And that way also I think it also screws up with my analytics on Vercel, because that my website is hosted on Vercel. And somehow I'm already at the, I think I turned it on maybe 4 days ago, 5 days ago. I'm already at the limit for analytics events. And so I need to pay money soon. If I want analytics, or maybe I just go to using Google Analytics. But yeah. Somebody asked about plugins that I was using for Obsidian. I use a bunch of things. Let's see, what's interesting here. Advanced Canvas looks interesting because it allows you to do interesting things with Canvas. I've seen some people doing like dashboards on their Obsidian Canvas. Better word count, that is what this is down here. These 4 minutes to read. I think that's the 4 minutes to read. Or it might be this one over here. Oh, looks like it pushed to remote. One of the word counts is this one, which is really useful when, if I'm in Obsidian, this is my, let's see, go to deliverables, the ChromaDB UIs. Basically, this is my note for that video. You can see I don't actually check the checkboxes that I've actually done. But this is the script. And as I write the script, I see that it's 1,400 words in this script. And that's roughly that count is actually counting all this stuff as well, but that's only about 30 seconds worth. But now I can see as I'm typing, that is not 4 minutes. Oh no, that one was probably 4 minutes. That was a pretty short one. But this YouTube Studio one, no, that's got to be wrong. Because this was more like 20 minutes. Okay, so that's all screwed up. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, what else was in here? Data view is amazing for like pulling data into kind of higher level views of your data. Git, this is the thing that I'm using right now to push my content up into GitHub and then start the process of pushing to my website. Language tool, oh, I actually have it turned off. Let's turn that back on. Is a kind of like Grammarly, but different. I used to use Grammarly a lot, and then when I was at Datadog, they said if you use Grammarly, you will be fired because of very sketchy security practices that Grammarly does. At the time, I don't know if they fixed it since then. Let's see. What else is really useful in here? Projects. I use the projects plugin a lot. And another plugin that I find really useful is, I think it's called like Plugin Updater or Updates, Smart Updates. Plugin Update Tracker, because you can update the plugins, but sometimes it's hard to see what has been updated. And so that just gives me a nice view of here are the plugins that have been updated, and Excalibur has added these things, which is just really nice. So I'm going to update all the things and update plugins. Okay. Listening to videos, I started considering moving from Python to JS. Does working in those languages make it easy? No. Well, yeah. Make it easier to... It's another language. I mean, if with any... it should be... I think most developers, once they've reached a certain level in their career or in their experience with programming, it doesn't really matter what language it's in. And sometimes it's useful to see other languages just to help grok it a little bit, understand it a little bit better. And so, I mean, the big difference between all these languages is really what are the packages or modules or whatever that are already available, so you can extend the language further than how it was originally designed. And that's definitely one thing that Python has going for it on the ML side, on the machine learning side, or anything else. It's there. A lot of the tools exist for how to chunk up a paragraph into sentences, or how to um, I mean, other things that you're likely to do with AI projects. The problem, one, I mean, there's other problems. There's, I did a video about what was it? Oh, RAG with Python, and it turns out my instructions for getting up and running and the requirements text file is fine if you're on Mac and Linux, but Windows, the package names are different. Why? I don't know. But in order to use Windows with this thing, you need to use different packages, and I don't have those problems um, with TypeScript or with JavaScript. It's a little more consistent. But Python is often trying to do a lot more by actually just distributing executables in those packages, which is why there needs to be a different package name. Because I mean, um, with npm, it's not usually the executables that are being distributed. How are we doing on time? 12 o'clock. For analytics, you could host an instance of Umami. I don't know what umami is. Other than, isn't it like the flavor? It's like, is that like one of the flavor in Asian food that doesn't have a name, and so therefore people just say umami? No, is that something else? Umami. Oh yeah, it's the one of the five basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. It's delicious, savory taste. Okay. But that is not what you were talking about. Umami analytics. Umami is hmm, cool. You know what? That kind of looks like. Um, I think this is what Vercel is actually using, is umami, because all those that UI looks very similar to what Vercel is charging you for. Um, who makes umami? Uh, hmm, yeah. Mm, okay, it said something about umami and Vercel. Okay. But I feel like that UI is what I see on Vercel. But how many different ways can you display metrics about a website? Let's see. On the serving apps using JS. Yeah. I mean, the easiest tool to use for deploying anything is whatever tool you know. Um, and so if you know Python, then I mean, you really should know Python as well as any other language. And pick one language to get really great at, so that if you have an idea, you can just get it out there quick. Um, the downside of relying on lots of different languages is that um, you might get confused. Well, but at the same time, you should also be able to read plenty of other languages, and um, being able to look at Python code, even if you can't write it yourself, looking at Python code and know what it's saying, and then be able to interpret it, or maybe Python's the wrong example. Being able to look at TypeScript code, or being able to look at Lua code, or being able to look at Golang code, or being able to look at C Sharp or C++ or Fortran. Well, maybe not Fortran. Fortran's weird. But anything else, schema. I saw another what was it? Another language pop up on Hacker News the other day that looked like it was a Lisp variant. That was God, what was it? It's like project or some. I feel like it started with a P, but it's one of these other. Yeah, it felt like Lisp. It felt like So I did one of my courses that I did in college was introduction to artificial intelligence programming, and the language that we used for that was Schema, which is a Lisp variant. I mean, this is a very different time because that class I would have taken in. Let's see, that probably would have been 1989, my second year in college. So very, very different from what we're dealing with now. Get betting on AGI timelines. Yeah, I seem to have an unpopular, I don't know, uncommon idea of when AGI. I think AGI, based on everything how fast we're moving, because we're moving faster than ever in this AI kind of space. I think AGI, the idea of AGI, of course, the AGI is this moving finish line because it's always, I don't know, it's always moving back and forth. But I think based on how far and how fast we're moving, it's coming up faster than anybody could have imagined a few years ago. And so I think it's down to as little as maybe 20 to 30 years out. I mean, it would have been 100 or 200 years out not that long ago, but I think it's down to like 20 to 30 years. But the idea that AGI is tomorrow is ridiculous, absolutely insane. That guy, what's that guy who? Oh, there's so many YouTubers that just make stuff up. Let's make stuff up that makes it sound like I'm intelligent. I guess you could say the same thing about me, but makes it sound like I'm intelligent, but it just totally bogus. What's that guy? I can't remember his name. He always wears the Star Trek uniform. Full of it. Yeah, I think power of compounding. Are we talking about the same thing? Oh, I think Neve helped me with understanding. Yes, that guy. Oh my God, nutcase. Oh, I should be nicer. I should be nicer. Things go so fast now. Yes, they do. And that's why I think it could be happening as soon as 20 to 30 years from now. I think if I had been asked 5 years ago, I would think it would have been 100 years out. But things are moving fast, and so it could be as little as, assuming we continue to accelerate the way we are, 20 to 30 years. Because I mean that in order, the language models that we have today, most of the technology that's being used in those language models were all well documented and laid out, and basically almost everything that's being done in language models it was in a paper in, I can't remember when it was, 1992, 93. It's taken basically 30 years to I don't know. Are we at a point where large language models are perfected? Um, it took 30 years to get to this point. Um, there was definitely it accelerated a little bit more with the um, attention is all you need paper in 2007, 2008, 2010, somewhere in there, that Google paper, in the last 10 to 15 years. But most of the technology we're dealing with is 1990, 1992 or three. I can't remember who did that paper, but yeah. But yeah, now we have the compute power, and having that compute power to train big. I mean, it's economically feasible in the last 5 years for something like OpenAI to even exist. Incredible. Yeah, amazing. Wow. Let's see. I didn't do any of the things I was planning to do on this, but this has been so much more fun. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact that models are always a little bit out of date. They're a little less out of date than like GPT 3.5 was definitely, everything you started doing was at least 2 to 3 years old. Um, quantum computing. Yeah, maybe, maybe, yeah. A lot of stuff needs to get better in order for quantum computing to be um, possible for possible. Uh, 1000 H100 to 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think no matter what the prediction is for where are we going to be in 5 to 10 years, I think no matter who's predicting, I think everyone's going to be wrong. Except for, I think there's probably a few people who are going to be right. We're probably going to put them in a hospital somewhere. I don't know. It's going to be so insane. Um, I don't know. Weird. All right. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to look at web apps and applications, desktop applications. I think where we ended up on this chat box is that it seems interesting, but there's enough features, especially these core features of the product, that you don't actually have access to unless you pay for their service. It's kind of annoying that Chatbox is in the list um, of community integrations. Oh, sorry. Whoever suggested Chatbox, do you work for Chatbox, Rodolfo? Is this your tool? Was I being mean about your product? I don't want. Yeah, if Rodolfo's still here. Uh, yeah. Oh, I know that one of the Bill Gates, he has invested a lot into companies that are doing newer designs for nuclear power, and I know that there is. I feel like last year there was a job ad that people were sharing around for Azure that was focused on nuclear power. Because the idea being if they can put in at least a small nuclear plant at different data centers, that will, take the load off the power grid, and they can generate enough power to run a data center. a huge I mean, these enormous data centers, and even give back some of the energy back to the community. So I think the days of nuclear power in the hands of like large companies that we're probably not that far away from. And I think those nuclear power plants that he's investing in, I mean, they're so incredibly safe. Um, Molten salt reactor, yes. Cheap power is good, yes. Um, what else can I do with this thing? Software developer. Okay. Uh, hmm, that seems like a good dish answer. And that was nice and fast. Let's change this to. I wish there was an easier way of swapping around models. It feels like I have to go through some extra hoops. Um, what's a coding one? Code, no, Code Llama. I don't know if code. Let's go with Code Llama 34 and do that same question. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for companies to be able to run to be at a point where they can't rely on the power that's being generated by a local community or a local by a state level or some regional level and just not being enough energy. I mean, there. I wish there was a. I wish more of these data centers had. Uh, I mean, I'm sure they are trying to think of ways of not using up all the valuable resources of a community. I mean, there's so many data centers going into parts of the U.S. where water supply is already low, um, and and there because of shady deals that were made with corrupt politicians. There are the 3/4 of all the water for a community goes to this one data center, and there's not enough for the people in that community. Um, it, uh, Obviously, I don't run these kinds of data centers, so I don't know what are the issues. But they use water for cooling, and I don't know where the water goes after it is used for cooling. Nestle style, Nestle style. What's I don't know what that refers to. Did they take a bunch of water from some community? Okay, so we're at about an hour and 20 minutes. This was, let's go for another 10 minutes. And then I think I need to go feed my dog. Oh, they use way too much water in some places. Yeah. Yeah, Nestle is what? How big is Nestle? Huge. Of course, when I know Nestle does more than just chocolate, but I often think of Nestle as a chocolate company. Um, Although I wouldn't be surprised if chocolate counts for 10% of their business. But my favorite or least favorite chocolate story is about Cadbury's. And so Cadbury's, around the world Cadbury's chocolate is made by Cadbury's, except in the US. And Cadbury's in the US is made by Hershey. But it's not using Hershey's chocolate. It's using those little balls of Cadbury's that um, of the chocolate is put together into Cadbury's chocolates in the US, but it's made by Hershey's because Hershey made a deal with Cadbury's at some point long ago, saying we will make your chocolate here. And somebody has, anytime there's been a small like mom and pop shop that is just selling candy bars from around the world, if they start selling Cadbury's from Europe, they've gotten sued by Hershey because Hershey is the one company allowed to sell. You're not allowed to sell original Cadbury's chocolates in the U.S. unless it's been made by Hershey's, which is just bizarre. Can't remember when that happened. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40, maybe longer. Useless facts in Matt's head. Oh my God. Way too much sugar in baby food. I seem to remember thinking of India. The feel like I read a book at one point talking about salt in India, like during the British rule days, having there was like a wall across India, and if you were they like taxed salt, and you had to if you were going past this wall, you had to pay a salt tax. I don't feel like I read this book sometime. Of course, I've completely forgotten because I wasn't taking notes in Obsidian. Note taking would have solved all my issues. Instead, I might have just made up a fact. Oh, so that was a real thing. Okay, I wasn't just making that up. So I saw a movie the other day. God, what was it called? Monkey Man? Was it Monkey? Mm, movie 2024. Monkey Man. Yes. And I heard the way somebody described it was an amazing movie. So I really enjoyed it. Um and I heard somebody describe it as oh no, I've forgotten what he said. Oh, because I thought of the movie as kind of like John Wick, except if John Wick actually had a story, um, and actually were a little bit more violent, it would be Monkey Man. But they took the phrase John Wick and changed it to non Wick, which I don't know. Anyway, so amazing movie, Monkey Man. Go see it. Unless you do not like violence, in which case that is not the movie to see. But with Dev Patel. All right. Okay, so I was starting to do more of, let's see, where is that? Whisper? Did I already close out the, no, here it is, Chatbox. I don't know, I'm kind of confused by Chatbox. I'm not really sure, I don't know, new images? Image creator. Okay, so another tool I need to use their service for, maybe? Um, make an image of a fancy llama in a toga. Does not support. Okay, so I have only Chatbox, OpenAI, and Azure OpenAI support this. Okay. So there's all these features. Okay, they say they support Ollama, but if you're using Ollama, you can't do anything that you do with this tool. So it feels like Ollama was added as a extra checkbox on the description page. But if you want to do anything with this thing, you really need to use, what's a copilot? Create a new copilot. My assistant. Avatar URL. Okay. So which model is it using? Okay. So it's, if I set IT expert to use, I don't know, Llama 213B, and I set this one. Is it going to use that Llama 2 because I set that already? Software developer. Create a Python function to sort an array of 100 numbers. Okay, so that's using Llama 3 because that was the default before. But now if I use IT expert, it's going to use Llama 2. Okay, so okay, I guess that's kind of cool. So you can create these different co-pilots that answer different, basically what Ollama calls a model. I guess that's kind of interesting. I'm not I'm not seeing why Chatbox is interesting. What's this thing? Clear conversation list. Nope. Um, yeah. All right. Well, it has been an hour and 30 minutes, and for some reason, 24 people are still with me at the end. That is incredible. Hopefully, this is somewhat. One of my problems is that I am known to go off on tangents. And so hopefully this wasn't too painful to listen to. It was enjoyable. Okay, well, I yeah. Um yeah, I'm gonna try this more often. This was fun. What time did I start yet today? I think I started around 11 o'clock. I should probably do this on a more regular basis. Um, help me. Going to yes, I am going to review all the apps. One thing needs to happen for me to actually review all the apps. Y'all need to shut up and let me review. No, I don't want that to happen. I'm just kidding. Because this is like yesterday. It was a beautiful day yesterday, and like I think I took a photo of yesterday of this was I sat down, I opened up my laptop, I and I took a photo because it was beautiful outside, and I yeah, and I ended up just not working. I I think this screenshot shows LinkedIn. Yeah, so I was on LinkedIn, and then I was trying to create some notes, and I ended up just goofing off, just like because it was a beautiful temperature outside, beautiful day, and I didn't do anything. It was amazing. So I guess that days like that need to happen. It's what you would see normally if this shrub wasn't here is Mount Rainier, which is nice to see, but I didn't see that. Anyway, we don't need to see pictures of my daughter. Okay. Yeah, you just need days like that. But hey, thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me as I think more about what I want to do with this um, list of applications. So yeah, I'm going to go through that list and um, try to create some notes about what I think is interesting, what's not interesting, about all of them. There were definitely some that I tried looking at yesterday, like I think I mentioned LOLLMS, which won't even install, and there are some other ones that just don't install, haven't been touched in months, and they all looked, and yet they're high up on the list of integration. So kind of create that annotated list of integrations. So maybe I'll continue that tomorrow, or maybe I'll do a little bit more of that today. Okay, thanks so much, and I'm gonna find that end stream button. Oh, and it was amazing having you all here with me as well. This was fun.